Well, without further ado, I want to introduce you to the next speaker. It is Todd Moritz, who is the VP of Technical Solutions at Opus Agency, and he will be talking about From Pause to Unleashed, the return of innovation. Over to you, Todd.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming, everybody. So yeah, I'm Todd Moritz. I'm VP of Technical Solutions at Opus Agency, where my team has the pleasure of consulting across our entire agency portfolio on event tech solutions. So that's a fancy way of saying we have the best jobs in the world. So it's really a lot of fun every day. So today we're going to talk about innovation. So everywhere we turn, we're hearing about AI. We're talking about ChatGPT, VR, and machine learning. And innovation really seems to be everywhere today. It's all over the news. But what about for our space? What about new and innovative attendee-facing tech? So at Opus Agency, we judge awards, and we have seen historically what's new and innovative in the event space. So 5 years ago around this time, I was in San Francisco with Event Marketer for the Experiential Marketing Summit. And we're seeing demos from all kinds of really interesting tech startups in this space. There were new ideas for engaging attendees that were sprouting up everywhere, and it was a really inspiring time. But the world's changed a lot in the last 5 years, and today we're going to talk about that. So before I get into it, a little story. So I'm a watch guy. I always have been. I have a small obsession with time. So at Christmas when I was little, and this was a long time ago, I wanted a digital watch. They were brand new back then. But my mother was worried that things like digital watches made you lazy when it came to things like telling time or reading clocks or whatever her excuse was. Now, mind you, this is the same woman who, when all I wanted was Atari for Christmas to play Space Invaders with my friends, instead I got the Odyssey 2 console because somehow it had a keyboard and she equated that with it being educational. It wasn't, and the games were terrible. So anyway, Christmas rolls around and I got it. That's actually it. It's a red LED Micronta digital watch from Radio Shack, and I was absolutely thrilled. So fast forward to the 80s. I told you this was a long time ago. I got the calculator watch, and everything just kind of snowballed from there, and now I have way too many watches in my closet. So I was a holdout for the Apple Watch until last year when I finally got one for all things to stay more in touch when I'm on the road, because I'm on the road a lot, which was a huge mistake, by the way. But I do love the thing. So I finally succumbed to 10-year-old technology. But mine doesn't always come on when I flip my wrist. It actually did that time. So I end up tapping the face to actually turn the watch on. So I really just need a new strap because mine's all stretched out and it doesn't work the way it's supposed to. So the other week, I went into our physical office space and I decided I was going to wear one of my old watches. I was seeing people in real life. I was getting dressed up. It was a big deal. And I noticed that every time I went to look at my old watch, I would tap the face on a regular watch. So basically, I've been conditioned by my Apple Watch that doesn't work the way it's supposed to do something that I don't need to be doing. And it's not even the watch function I want access to. It's the apps. It's all the cool stuff on the watch. So I finally accepted this 10-year-old tech, but it turns out the very basic supporting structure, the strap, it's broken. It doesn't work the way it's supposed to. So we're going to come back to this. So a few weeks ago, I did a very informal Google search of event trends over the last 5 years. And this is pretty telling about what we've been thinking about collectively for the last 5 years. So clearly, AI has been on our mind. Live streaming became a big deal in 2020. But other than that, it really hasn't changed much in 5 years. That's a long time. But what about this? This is some amazing technology. There's holoportation, there's immersive VR, there's an AR climbing wall in here to use at our events. That's from 2016. That's a deck I pulled off the internet. So we really haven't innovated that much since then. In 2019, we put attendee tools front and center. That was the most important thing of every single thing that we did. That was the holy grail. But in 2021, it became all about platforms. And it still is all about platforms. So in my day-to-day, the one question that gets asked by people more than any other question is, what's next? What's the hot new way to engage attendees at audiences at events? And I don't always have a good answer to that question. In fact, I usually don't have a good answer to that question. We have partners that do one-off activations, but the budgets to support those types of things generally just really aren't there yet. Creative wants to do more, we want to do more, our clients want to do more, but it's expensive and it's complicated, and those budgets inevitably these days get allocated to the things that are deemed more appropriate, like food and beverage. So here's part of the problem we're facing right now. This is today's little scoop of perception. So since 2020, innovation has been focused on building more value for event organizers than not for attendees. But our attendees are supposed to be front and center of our universe. They're what everything's supposed to revolve around, right? And here we are today. Platforms are the new operating systems. It's all we talk about, and it's not hard to figure out why. It's where all the money's gone for the last 3 years. So that's great for the platforms. They can evolve to meet the needs of their marketplace, but their marketplace is actually the planners. It's not the attendees. So this is for the biggest platforms out there right now, and not a single one of them even mention an attendee experience. So our most important asset, our core reason for even being here, is completely left out of the conversation, with one exception: Swoogo. Swoogo actually markets to attendees. So while I was writing this the other week, I started to doubt myself. I figured, is it me just feeling this way? Have I gotten really bad at cool hunting? Am I just not seeing innovation out there like I used to? And then I got this email from Julius, who actually was just speaking on the other stage. And it really reinforced everything that I've been feeling for a while, and I think a lot of you have been feeling. There's an unprecedented shortage of pure in-person event tech companies out there right now. Soon, there's going to be no in-person event tech companies left for the platforms themselves to buy. And that's a problem. So I get it. I probably sound like a downer. And I think it's just a temporary solution, a temporary situation that we're going to get ourselves out of. And I think to do that, we need our own version of an app marketplace. So we need a place where independent developers can develop technology solutions that are attendee-facing, that can plug and play with these new operating systems and generate data, because it's all about data, right? So we need more open systems, not more black boxes like we keep seeing on the marketplace. So we have our core technology. That's the watch that has all the cool stuff in it. But we don't have a reliable support system that can actually give us access to the broader spectrum of those engagement tools, the strap, because it's broken. So the tools themselves, they're just not there anymore. At least we're not seeing with the scale that we were back in 2016, 17, 18, 19, because they're not there. So this is a call to action. This is a dose of our current collective reality, that it's up to us to make the changes that are going to unleash that innovation, because it's not going to happen by itself. So we need to embrace that enduring spirit to do things together as an industry. So at Opus Agency, we have a viewpoint on this. So 2022 was the year of the Great Reunion. Being all together, that's where people were actually engaging in events and experiential marketing. And the value that people were finding was actually being there together. Reunion. So if 2022 was the year of reunions, and we see that continue into the first half of 2023, if the value for attendees is coming back together, then what happens after that's done? So we believe that 2024 is going to be the year that innovation is unleashed again. But that means we need to start building things in the second half of this year, and we're already there. We're almost at the second half of this year. So it's go time now, but what are we going to actually build? So I've got another quick story for you. So I actually got my start in event tech back in 2018, so I'm a latecomer. I'm new to the industry. So in 2018, I had the extreme good fortune to become general manager of an event tech startup company called Volley. And it was a platform for capturing short snippets of video from keynote broadcasts that you could actually share from the show floor in real time. We had analytics on the back end. Brands could actually track where those videos were being shared. That's actually what took me to Event Market in 2018, where we're demoing Volley for the larger audience. So it seems like a great idea, right? Should be an easy sell, but not so much. So I had three things going for me at Volley. I had an unwavering entrepreneurial spirit. I had just come from 10 years of managing my own digital creative firm. Second, I believed that this was new tech that was going to make a real difference. And third, I was blissfully ignorant about how this industry actually works. I didn't know that everybody knows everybody else, and it's a business that's done by way of introductions. So for 2 years, I cold called, I flew around the world doing demos, and I basically spent every single day learning this industry inside and out, the best I could. One question kept coming up from potential customers in the enterprise space, and that was, who has used this before? Can we see some case studies of this being used at scale? So the reality is that nobody wanted to take a risk. Nobody wanted to be first. So eventually we found a few brave souls who actually agreed to do pilot programs, as luck would have it, in Q2 of 2020. So obviously this was in-person tech, and things didn't go very well. We didn't make the splash that we wanted to, but somehow I made it here today in front of you on this stage, so things clearly worked out for me somehow. So my point is here, there are great ideas trying to get into this industry, and we're the ones in a position to help them through the door and meet everybody they need to be successful. So here we are. Platforms are our new operating systems. We've got the tools to make the job of putting events on more efficient for organizers, but not for attendees. Good for us, but we can do more. Over the past few years, we've lost a lot of those promising startups that had just started making a splash, like Volley. They either went away completely or they are acquired by much bigger machines. So we need to find fresh ideas and new innovators. So we need to look outside this industry and champion those innovators and show them the way through the door, how to do business. And third, without a market, there is no innovation. So client budgets are cut, there's risk aversion, but we're the ones in a position of trust with our clients to help guide them to the new things, to open up new opportunities, and generate demand for new ideas. If we can do that, we elevate our clients, we elevate those technology providers, and we elevate our attendees' experiences, which is really our whole holy grail. So over the past few years, we've developed muscle memory. We keep tapping the watch. We need to break out of our comfort zone, and we need to change things up, and we need to start thinking differently about how we approach technology. We built some walls. I have myself. But change begins at the end of our comfort zone, and I think we're a little bit afraid of risk right now. So we need to stop tapping the watch and just get the new strap. The old one's just one more hurdle to actually getting the things we want, and that's the engagement tools that are inside the technology. But how do we get back to that sense of FOMO, to surprising and delighting our clients? How do we immerse those attendees in the spaces that we fill and help them explore and find that joy? Because after all, attendees really want joy, and they want to play, and so do we. So if we strip everything back to the very most basic level, we can find joy in new ways in the most simplistic activities. So last fall, there was a major event here in Vegas where they put a giant slide down between the two main staircases. There was a line to ride that thing all day, every day, as long as it was open. So you could scan a badge, you could tie that into a photo sharing kiosk, you could launch a mobile app activation to schedule your ride, to actually hold your place in line, and you could do a call for social posts, and all of a sudden you've got this great attendee-focused digital activation that's based on joy, and they're going to come back next year expecting more, and we're the ones that have to give it to them. So how are we going to do that? I'm going to get off my soapbox now, and I'm going to show you some cool stuff. So I want to introduce you to a few of my new friends, and we're going to let the outside in together today. So Radius is a platform that's really evolved from the mobile peer-to-peer payment space. But they've shifted to becoming a proximity-based content delivery platform. So one of the founders of Radius is actually an ex-NASA scientist, so he knows a thing about GPS and security and what our phones can actually do, what they're capable of. He's a big brain guy. So as an attendee, Radius enables you to get digital content based on your physical location. On Android, it's within 30 feet of a location, and on Apple, on iOS, it's within 15 feet, and that's getting better every single day. So it works kind of like Pokemon Go, but for adults at events. So people can pick up a drink voucher at a sponsored booth in Expo, and then Radius is actually going to guide you out to the bar where that sponsor activation is actually happening. Sponsors can drop you a white paper in Expo just by walking up to their booth. Attendees can get mobile badges as they approach a venue, so there's no need for actual physical badges anymore. All of your credentials can be on your phone because you've opted into Radius. So they're doing things like scavenger hunts, they're doing wayfinding, reward drops, you name it, the possibilities are really pretty endless. And you can opt in with a simple click from your existing event app, or they actually have a no-app solution that avoids any need for any downloads or any third-party integrations. So these are folks that didn't play in our space at all a year ago. So we're helping them find opportunities with our clients at Opus Agency because we think that this is something that will really surprise and delight our clients and build more value for our clients' events. Here's another one. This is called Lagoon. Lagoon Live is a little bit different. And this is an old friend of coworker of mine who's actually in the content creation space for Expo. So things like video loops and sponsor booth, testimonials or short-term video content. That's the kind of thing he actually does. But he was hearing from his clients that it's really hard to engage customers beyond a single interaction at an expo booth. So he solves this by creating a very simple way to extend that in-booth interaction to your mobile device. So engagement continues after that initial engagement with really cool gamification, and you can still do exclusive reward drops and content. But the cool thing about Lagoon is it's using NFT technology to actually mint rewards based on multiple interactions across multiple events, and it can even be across multiple sponsors. So it takes gamification, the whole concept of gamification, to a whole new level. So it addresses an audience, sponsors, that are typically underserved, but very important. And this is basically lead retrieval and attendee engagement on steroids that happens throughout the year. So Lagoon can also do the content drops, but they mix in polling, games, AR, and there's a persistent leaderboard that works across multiple events, so it's competitive as well. On the back end, there's a dashboard where you can do all of your engagement data, and you can even target individual users for one-off reward drops anytime over the course of the year. So the platform's in beta. It's got a ton of potential. So check them out at lagoonlive.com and tell James I sent you. So ARway. So wayfinding help at events, it's really not all that new, but if you've ever used some of the wayfinding that's built into the existing event apps, it's not so easy to use. So when your app tells you to walk 30 feet southwest and you're in the belly of the Venetian, southwest doesn't mean a whole lot, and you're lost. So ARway actually lets you use your mobile device as a physical lens to see real-time directions based on where you are and where you're going. So inside spaces can be mapped and tagged with QR codes, so that helps the app to orient itself. And from the admin panel, you can upload custom floor maps, you can customize your layouts, and you can brand the whole experience for your event. So again, this is using GPS, and they're working through some of the real challenges of venue Wi-Fi systems, and they're making some headway. So we've been trying this out in our Opus agency offices for the last few months, and it really is super cool. They just announced that they've signed a handful of clients, so you don't have to be first. And we're keeping an eye on them, and we expect this technology is just going to keep getting better and better as the year goes on. This was super cool. This is actually something from last week. So the Dreamkeeper is an activation that I experienced at Atlassian Team 23 just last week at the Venetian. You scan a QR code, and it launches a mobile browser where you can actually enter in a description of your dream. It could be a dream you had last night, a dream you have in life, whatever it is. So then it uses AI to generate an image of that dream, and then it renders it on a big display screen alongside all the other attendee dreams from the event. So the event was actually structured around teamwork and collaboration, so it was a perfect activation for this particular audience. So it also gives you a mobile interface to share your image. You can explore the gallery and enter another dream, and you can actually access it after the event's done too. So it's the first real use of AI that I've seen in an events environment, and that has me really excited for what's possible going forward. I think we're going to have to be seeing a lot of this going forward as AI becomes more prevalent. So in event, they're actually sponsoring this stage. I didn't know that when I built this slide, promise you. So it was just a matter of time before somebody did this, but they claim to be first. I believe them. They've actually integrated ChatGPT into their platform to automate outbound marketing. So since all of your event and attendee data is in the platform, the system can actually draft content to help drive demand for your event. So they're actually here in booth A31. So go check them out. Have a talk. I got to go see them after this. So speaking of ChatGPT, let's get a little bit deeper. So this is top of mind for everybody right now. How many of you have actually used ChatGPT? Okay, not everybody. Okay, so it actually started back in 2018, but now it's getting really, really good, like creepily good. I actually used it to draft a 90-second intro for this talk, and it was decent, but I had to write it myself. So it's great that we as organizers can actually use these tools, but what about the attendees? So if you're the attendee that draws the golden ticket to actually go to an event and your boss expects you to report on what you saw at the event when you get back, use ChatGPT. It actually knows everything that you went to. It knows all the session descriptions. It could probably do a better job than you could. But it can recommend tracks or sessions. It can generate a daily calendar with walking directions to every one of your sessions. It can even tell you for things where to grab breakfast or where to grab a drink after the event. So the possibilities there are really endless, and we're just at the very tip of the iceberg on this one. It could get scary, could not, but it's pretty cool either way. So DALL-E is it's an AI system that's also based on the same AI project, OpenAI project as ChatGPT, and it generates realistic images and art from a description in natural language. So this actually works by scraping stock image libraries over time. I actually asked it to generate some slide templates for my deck, so don't worry, designers, your jobs are safe because they're really not good, but Midjourney takes the notion of image generation from text prompts to a whole other level. So this is a whole lot more advanced than DALL-E, but you can tell from the images here that it's come a long way. So there's a lot of discussion about how platforms like this are trained to generate images, and it has the artist community up in arms. So basically what happens is AI is fed examples of high-res imagery over time, and then it learns the styles and techniques based on what it takes in. So images aren't really generated out of pure air. It takes what are called ground truth images, and it compares the new images that are generated to those ground truth images in order to enhance the fidelity of the output over time. So these look really stunning, but it's still learning, and it's getting better every single day. So speaking of Midjourney, there's a guy named Rob Brooks. He's a Portland-based creative director. He's in the advertising space. So he wanted to see if text-prompted outputs from Midjourney could be combined with actual photographs, and the experiment he did is really pretty stunning. So he actually sat down over the holidays last year, and he learned how to do text prompts in Midjourney, and he created these woodland characters that then he actually, he took them into Photoshop and actually blended them with real photography of his family in the woods, and it's just, it's nuts. It's nuts what he was able to do. So check him out too. We're going to have this available for you after the show. Related, Music LM. It's a project that generates high-fidelity music from text. So it's not just images now, it's also music. So it's the same types of algorithms that learn visual output, and they've been developed to consume and generate music from text prompts over time. So this comes out of Google Research Lab. Check it out. There's lots and lots of examples of this available, and it's really pretty amazing what the AI is able to generate. And then finally, bringing it all together, this is not an ad for Adobe, it's just a really cool video. Firefly, they just announced this for NAB a couple weeks ago. It's out in beta. This is like the first total production tool using AI for everything from image creation, for soundtracks and sound effects. It does color enhancements, B-roll generation, storyboard creation from scripts. It really does look like a complete production tool, but it's operated with text prompts and basic controls. So the beta's out now. Anybody can sign up for it. It's really, really stunning what it can do. Yeah, this is content generation, but imagine applying this to on-site activations for attendees and what could actually be generated from AI prompts. So where do we go from here? So if there's 3 takeaways from this session, these are it. So platforms have become the center of everything we do. There are new operating systems. They used to be really important, but now they're really, really important because they hold all the data. They're really important, especially for planners, but we need to make them more important for attendees over time. So to better serve those attendees, we need to look outside of our industry, and we need to find new innovators that have new technology that we can leverage for our events. We need to show them in the door. And perhaps most importantly, we need to establish a demand for that innovation. So we need to keep coming up with ideas that get our clients excited to try, and more importantly, to fund new things. But together, I think we can all help fuel the next wave of technology innovation. And if we can do that, it's going to be awesome. So I can't wait to see what we can all do together. We've got a long way to go, but we're getting started. So thanks for being here. Feel free to scan this QR code. You can actually get it. You can download a leave-behind version of this presentation. And I hope everybody has a great show. I think we're going to do some Q&A.
All right. Just checking. Does anyone have any questions for Todd in the audience? No? Well, thank you so much, Todd. I promise I didn't pay for you to bring up our innovation there, but thank you so much and hope everyone enjoyed it.